I'll call this meeting of the Older Adult Advisory Committee to order. The first order on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adriana, can you call the roll?
Betty Bishop. Rochelle Fuquay.
Yes.
Jennifer Hamill.
Yep.
Nils Olmholt.
Here.
Suzanne Ostosh. Vito Pianello.
Here.
Phil Randazzo. Marcia Relier.
Here.
Joe Silbernagle.
Here.
Moira Smith. Carol Thompson. Barbara Vansickle.
Here.
Carol Weidenbach.
Here.
Kathy Western.
Here.
Roy Wilson.
Here.
Carol Weisman. That completes the roll.
Thank you. Next is the adoption of the agenda. If you have looked it over and don't have anything you want to add, subtract, or change, I'd take a motion to accept.
I make a motion.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to adopt the agenda as printed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next is the approval of the minutes. You have before you the minutes dated April 24th, 2022. Any corrections?
Move to approve.
I'll make a motion.
It's been moved and supported to adopt the minutes of May 24th as printed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Public participation. This is the first opportunity for public participation for anyone who wishes to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any item which is on today's agenda. The second opportunity for public participation is for those who wish to speak on any issue, and that happens at the end of the meeting. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on public participation? Going once? Going twice? Third time? All right, we have two presentations today. Both educational in nature that we hope you'll find interesting and useful and send information back. So first I would like to hear from David Tarrant with the Macomb Organization for Retiree Enrichment, MORE, to give us an update, and you do have a brochure in front of you.
Many of you have helped us materially and personally with our program since then, so we're very grateful. Before I get started, I wanted to also introduce my associate. This is Sharon Snyder, joined us in about 2 months ago, and has just done an outstanding job. And you might be hearing from her in the future as she helps carry the load for more. So thank you very much, Sharon. Also, Sharon has some catalogs, Adriana, to give you later. Okay, well, this is an update on our program. And the thing that we are here to do is promote putting seniors first. MORE is designated for that by the college. It's our outreach program for seniors. I think that's not a surprise to those of you here. And since you've heard from me before, I won't belabor all the details, but it does stand for MORE, the acronym, Macomb Organization for Retiree Enrichment, and replaces the prior SOAR program doing essentially the same thing. And our theme basically is you're retired, not expired. Life begins at 55, not ends, and we try to embrace that concept and help people embrace that concept. It's a large group. About a third of all Macomb County people are 55 and up. It's not a small group. I'm sure you all know that here, but we remind everybody how important this age group is. In catering to the needs of this age group, we've historically had a very wide variety of classes. I won't get into all the details of this pie chart. It just illustrates that since 2018 we've had 607 individual class titles that we have given. We also do events, and we found in general that there's a strong demand for certain class categories, typically history, health and wellness, and so on. But then there's also a very strong demand for just variety. So about a third of our class offerings are just catered to what you might consider to be miscellaneous topics, but over in the aggregate, they're important. Well, as everyone is aware, when I was here speaking with you last, we were coming off of the COVID interruption in the program. We did not have any activity for 2 semesters, and we're just getting started last fall. And as you can see from this chart, we had quite a fall off to recover from. Now, we measure attendance 2 ways. One is just absolute numbers of students, and the other is something we call the attendee unit. That means 1 student, 1 class equals 1 attendee unit. So if you go to 10 classes, that's 10 attendee units. Historically, we were doing about 5,000 attendee units a year before COVID. That represents about 450 to 500 people per year. Of course, there's duplicates. Last fall, we got down to 39 attendees and 203 attendee units. That was in recovery mode. That was better than the prior semester. So we set aside our sights on this spring on recovering half of the audience, and that was roughly 1,200 attendee units. And I'm happy to say we actually exceeded that number slightly at 1,275. And what we learned out of that process is that the market is there. This is not a surprise with 280,000 people, but we have to reach that market. And to do that, we need to do the following. First of all, we have to offer classes. And within those class categories, there's also some events. We consciously made the decision to have more classes than historically. And when this was a going year business, we had 50 to 55 classes for each mainstream term, that is spring and fall term. Now we're going for 60 classes each mainstream term, and we're also rejuvenating the summer program, which I'll tell you more about later. So for 2022, we will have had 143 classes or events, which is far more than historically. So now we have the classes to offer. What do we do now to get people into those classes? Well, this is the objective. You can see the attendee units are the bars, and the line is attendees. And you can see that we came from the nadir last fall of 39 attendees and moved up to 203 in the spring. Our goal is 260 this fall, and next spring we should get back to the normal historical levels. That's our plan. And this is not just Dave Tarrant's plan. It's been taken up to Dr. Chandler, who's our leader in our part of the college, and he supports this fully. So we have good political support within the college. That's important. We have the opportunity to grow this program. And when I say grow it, we're not going to be satisfied getting back to basics. We want to get well past that. So by the fall of 23, we'd like to be at substantially above historical averages. And longer term, we want to double the number of attendee units. That would be 10,000 attendee units a year. And there's more potential above that. But of course, we have to have the facilities and so on to go with it. But we're building this program up to something it's never been before. That's our goal. Something else that we have to manage, and a little bit more subtly, is that people are experiencing changes in what they like, which is natural. Change and growth is normal, right? So historically, for example, 37% of all courses were either history or health and wellness. What we learned this past spring is that science and nature is coming up in interest, and some other traditional classes that we think are important were not as well attended, particularly literature, which is something we don't quite understand yet. We're not giving up on teaching literature, but it's coming down in terms of popularity. So taste change, interest change, and they change back. So we have to be ahead of the curve on that. Something else we have to be very mindful of is keeping the program fresh. So compared to this past spring, you're looking at the fall plan. Now this is kind of an eye chart, but let me explain what we're talking about here. In terms of classes, only 15 classes are of the classes, only 38 are carryover. Actually, I'm not saying this correctly. Look at the tan colored shading. Only 11 classes are pure carryover. 12 classes are revised, and 15 are new. That's from people who are already taught or have been teaching. Then we have new teachers, and by definition, all of those classes are new. So you see that 62% of all offerings this fall will be new. And we can't have them all be new all the time because existing classes are popular. So we have to balance that out. But the idea is to keep the program fresh, and we're trying really hard to do that. Now, we talked about summer a little bit. Historically, we didn't do much in summertime, and there's a reason. People have outdoor activities, they have family events, they have vacations, and so on. But there is some demand for a short summer season, and I like to think of that as a stepping stone. It's like how you get from spring to fall. So there's some presence because some people want to be involved in more. There are people there in our audience who their primary social activity in life is more. And that's just a fact of life for some people. So we don't want to leave people out, but we don't want to have, put a lot of emphasis in a season where there's not going to be a lot of demand either. So we solved that problem this year by having a 2-week program with 5 classes, 1 class each of 5 days, and 5 events. And we're in the market right now. We just sent the catalog out last Friday. It's been online for a little bit longer than that, and it's not very expensive. The early bird incentive package is 4 classes or events plus a picnic. So that'll be in the catalog that we hand out here, and we'll tell you what these classes are. Rolling sculpture is about the cars of the 60s primarily. It's designed and timed to dovetail with the Dream Cruise environment. We have a Coast Guard rescue swimmer who's teaching what it was like to be in that business. It's one of the most arduous jobs in the military. And it also relates to the summer season with swimming and so on. A class on how to hike, where to hike, and what to see when you hike. And then the people in that class and others, a week later, or 2 days later rather, can actually go on a hike with the person that led that class. History of Harson's Island and St. Clair Flats. And most impressively, the folks that teach astronomy for us have a very close personal tie with the guy who controls the mirrors on the Webb Deep Space Telescope. So we're leveraging that connection, and we're going to have the first-class images of deep space from that telescope on the 11th of August. And now the 5 events. There's a tour of the zoo Penguinarium, very popular already. A tour of Stahl's Auto Museum. Anybody not been there? That is a jaw-dropping experience. It's shockingly good. So we're going to promote that one heavily. It's right here. We're going to practically walk to it from here. We're going to do the Lake St. Clair Metro Park Voyager canoe experience. We're going to get out in the Voyager canoe and actually paddle the canoes. And if you haven't done that, that's another great thing that's right here locally. We're going to do the hikes at Sony Creek, as I mentioned, and then the very last day of classes, we just go out to the Lake St. Clair Metro Park Nature Trail, and when we're done walking and whatever we do, we'll have a picnic. So it's important because a lot of what goes on inside Moore is social. So we want to make sure we can connect. We'll have presenters there as well, and so on. Well, plans for the fall, I mentioned a little bit about class variety already. There'll be 58 classes plus a day of events around the Crocker House Museum. Pricing will be similar to what it was for the spring, as there's some slight tweaks. And we've worked really hard. Sharon is doing a fantastic job, is wrapping up the catalog copy right now. And we'll have that over to production this week. And the plan is to have that in your hands around the 15th of August. And the classes then start on October 3rd. So there's 6 weeks to sign up, which is very important for this group. So the classes will run the first 3 weeks of October, then we take a break. And one of the things we learned from our focus groups, and Kathy Western helped us a great deal with those, as did Walter, we learned a lot of things by just talking to our attendees. And one of the things we learned was 6 full weeks of classes in a row is too intense. It doesn't give you a chance to take a break, go somewhere south, whatever it is you want to do. And also we learned another thing, it's kind of hard on us not to have a break because we're working every day pretty intensively. So we break up the fall and spring terms now with 2-3 week sessions that are separated by a week. So that week's the week of 24 October, then we resume on Halloween, and we end just before Thanksgiving. Fall class lineup looks something like this. Special interest, once again, that's that big category miscellany. 22% of the classes, history 18, health and wellness and science and nature 15 each, human interest 15 as well, and then on down the list as you can see. Now when you get to the bottom you see politics and government. It's not that we're not interested. The most popular class ever was politically speaking, if anybody remembers that, where we had a moderator with speakers from differing points of view present to a class, and they became very well attended. And we lost that moderator. We didn't have the ability to recover that class. So we've been looking for a moderator, and I'm happy to report, and you heard it here first, at lunch today, Ed Hartfield, who's a professional moderator, has agreed to pick this ball up. So we're going to return to politically speaking, and we're thinking of doing 2 classes a semester. So if you have any suggestions about who should be up on the podium, let us know, because we're starting it over. We're going to do that. Okay, well, obviously there's a lot to do in marketing this program, and this is a very important part of it. It's called outreach, and we do as many presentations like this to as many groups as we can. And we go to senior citizens and expos, and then, most importantly, we're relying on a formalized ambassador group. That means more attendees who they themselves care enough about the program that they will help market it. And once again, Kathy's leading the charge. We're getting help from people like Kathy who appreciate the program and are willing to hand out catalogs or talk the program up or whatever. So that's a very important aspect. And we've done a lot of work internally to get the college marketing apparatus to perform better. And it's not that they're slouches, that's not the intention. It's that we weren't on the radar for them. So we have to get on the radar for the college's own apparatus. And then, of course, we rely on word of mouth. Finally, and most importantly, we have to listen to our customer. So we've already done 4 focus groups this year. There's at least 1 more coming up before the fall. We will have done probably 6 to 8 focus groups this year alone. And sooner or later, when we have enough budget, we're going to do quantitative research as well. Because if we don't listen to our customer, we don't meet their needs. If we don't meet their needs, we don't grow. So, I realize I'm not the only one on the agenda, but if there's any questions or comments, I'd be happy to field them. We're getting the catalog published,
Oh,
the cost of that.
okay. You know how much they donated?
I do not know.
Okay.
That's something our marketing department just arranged. I can find out.
No, I can find
Yeah.
out too, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes.
Anybody else have questions? Yes.
At $10 a class, that's not very expensive, but like the Voyager or the museum, is an added cost that you pay, or is the $10 included in like the canoe rentals? I know it's more than $10.
Right. We worked out a special arrangement. So all these class packages have enough margin for us to cover. So if you sign up for 2 classes and the picnic, you pay $30, and that covers our costs.
And another question was, this is for 55 and older?
Well, that's our target market. If somebody who's 49 shows up, they can come in.
Right.
Yeah.
Question, like 55 years older, a lot of them are working during the week. So are these classes during the day, during the week, or are they evening?
They're during the day, and we recognize a lot of people 55 to 65 are still working. We understand that. But the market we're trying to serve includes them because not everybody in that age group is working. Or if they are working, they don't necessarily work all during the day. Now, if the suggestion is, can we have classes at night or on weekends? Long term, yes. The answer is yes, we could do that.
And just out of curiosity, human interest, what kind of class is human interest?
Religion, for example. One of our most popular categories is religion. We have 2 classes this fall given by an Islam imam, and we have a Muslim, and we have 2 classes by a Protestant minister, and we are actively looking for a rabbi because there's a lot of interest in this group in religion and spirit. And what I find interesting is people who never have no intentions of becoming a Muslim will go to the Muslim class because they're curious. We have good attendance at these classes. So that's one example.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
How are your catalogs distributed?
Yeah, 2 ways. We have a mailing list we keep building up of people who have expressed an interest in the program or have attended in the past. And then we also have online, and that's backed up by, for example, in the spring, our whole catalog was published in the Connect magazine. Now, there's some problems with that one, but in general, we try to get as wide an audience as we can, and if you don't have a catalog in hand, you can go online and get it. You're welcome.
I just want to compliment you. I know this is in the brochure world, this is a lot of real estate, but it is such a simple step-by-step guide about how you sign up. I think it's great, and a lot of people get really, you start clicking on the buttons and you start to get really confused about, have you registered, have you paid, what have you done? This lays it out step by step. It tells you what you're going to see, what you need to do. I think that's really helpful.
Well, thank you very much, and I take no credit. That all belongs to Sharon. She did that, and that's a good example of what the quality of work that Sharon does.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Are these accessible to people? Could I pick up some and take them
Yeah.
to the local senior center?
Absolutely.
and
We're
have them-
giving you catalogs today. You could get more, and the ambassadors are handing them out as well. Plus, for example, our marketing department's putting quantities in every library in Macomb County, and we are distributing it. But if for some reason somebody doesn't get it, we can get them one. Right.
All right, if there are no further questions, I really want to thank you for coming again. I am always inspired by this, and I'm always trying to figure out how I can fit this into the schedule, but so far I'm struggling with that a bit. But I really want to thank you for coming and keeping us informed about this.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's always great to be here, and I really appreciate all the support we've gotten.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next item on our agenda is another educational one that we sometimes overlook, but is, in my opinion, really important in this county, and that is the MSU Extension Service.
I want to first of all start by thanking you all for the opportunity to come today. I just have a brief overview of some of our programmatic offerings. I'm going to apologize in advance. About 3 hours ago, I had a root canal, so I'm still a little numb. So if you happen to have trouble understanding me, let me know. I will repeat what I said for you. I want to make sure everything gets conveyed. Just very quickly, for those of you who may not be familiar with MSU Extension, we are essentially the outreach arm of Michigan State University, and our mission is to take all of the knowledge resources of the university and bring them out into communities. There is an extension office in every county in Michigan, and we are here to serve the public. In terms of kind of our stance and where we fall on issues related to aging, we know that on average, every individual over 65 has 2 or more potentially chronic conditions. And we see it as our role to educate Macomb County residents and Michigan residents on the various lifestyle choices available to them, because we know that better choices lead to stronger health and better ability to manage new conditions and illnesses as they arise. The bulk of our program offerings specifically focus on health, and some of the particular subjects we touch on are around sleep education, the management of chronic diseases such as arthritis or diabetes, management of chronic pain conditions, and fall prevention. So I'm just going to run through what a couple of those courses, look like and what they entail. So we have some workshops that we offer to the public on sleep education, where we focus on understanding the key concepts for achieving better and more restful sleep without medication. Understanding the obstacles to improving your sleep, and then understanding the ways that your sleep environment could be affecting your ability to sleep. Is your bedroom too bright? Do you tend to sleep with the television on? Things like that. Are you drinking coffee right before you go to bed? I may be guilty of that. Additionally, our chronic disease path programs are programs that have been going on for at least 15 years, and sometimes we do them in partnership with members of the health department. PATH stands for Personal Actions Towards Health, and they are designed to benefit adults with chronic conditions. We help participants learn how to be better self-managers of those conditions and learn how to take actions on their own so that hopefully it doesn't get to the point that they need to seek medical attention as symptoms arise, and so that they're able to manage those things. We talk through various aspects of relaxation techniques, the importance of healthy nutrition and physical activity, and also some of the best ways to make sure that you're staying in communication with caregivers and medical service providers in order to manage your chronic illness. Similarly, we also focus on conditions that bring chronic pain. And again, we focus on the best ways to communicate with healthcare providers and with caregivers, managing symptoms that come along with chronic pain-related conditions, such as depression, fatigue, or even some of the difficult emotions that might arise around those conditions. Healthy lifestyle changes, again, to help better manage chronic pain. And then goal setting. It's really important to understand that when we do these workshops, not just with our aging population, but really with anyone, 1, 2, or 3 hour workshop is not going to necessarily be what changes your life. And so we want to help people understand you can take small steps and make small changes that will stack up on top of each other, and over time, you'll begin to see the benefit. The next is fall prevention. And we have a couple of different options for programs that we use to address this. The first is Matter of Balance. And we work on helping to educate people around the idea that falls are controllable. One of the things that we often see in our aging population is that the fear of a fall will cause them to withdraw from life. I'm not going to go outside anymore. I might fall. Maybe I'm not going to go in my kitchen anymore because I might fall. And we help people begin to learn ways to stop pulling back and expand their outlook so that they can begin to participate in life again confidently. Again, goal setting small goals to increase their activity so that you can slowly become more comfortable with taking all kinds of various actions and participating in activities and being confident that you can do so without falling. Also, reducing the risk of falls. So again, this is examining your environment, making sure that especially any potential safety modifications are made to the living space, providing guidance around that to help prevent falls. And then ways to increase strength through physical activity. And along those lines, the second piece that we offer around fall prevention is our Tai Chi for Arthritis and Fall Prevention program. This is a Tai Chi course. If you are not familiar, Tai Chi is a martial art that is practiced very slowly and deliberately. It focuses on deliberate movement, focusing on breath, and it builds strength, balance, and flexibility. And in doing so, it prevents falls, and it helps people to focus more on the mind, body, and spirit connection, and it reduces stress. So the classes that I've just talked to you about are the ones in which we specifically target our senior population. But we have several other programs that have primarily senior audiences, even though that is not necessarily the specific target. Those would be our Extension Master Gardener program, whereby people are trained in the Extension Master Gardener curriculum and are then sent out into the community to work on projects with stakeholders and local communities to essentially improve the lives of people around them and improves the lives of communities through gardening and through garden education. And then the second piece of that would be any of the programs that we have to offer that touch on financial literacy, home ownership, foreclosure prevention, or foreclosure management. If you find yourself in that situation, the audience that we see for those programs tends to be about 60 to 65% senior. And so that's something we're very proud of, to be able to say that we get to work with those populations to help keep their homes, to help become financially literate. There are many people who find themselves on a fixed income, sometimes suddenly, and that can be very difficult to learn how to navigate and learn what kind of changes you need to make to your lifestyle and budgeting in order to survive that. And so that's something we take great pride in. So that is essentially it for me today. I wanted to leave you with some contact information. Jackie Rabin and Lisa Tams are two people that anyone can feel free to contact if they're interested in our workshops or programs. Many of them are available online, and we are also always looking for opportunities to give these workshops in person. Like my friends from Moore, they've stepped out now, but like my friends from Moore said, we were in a similar sort of place around reduction in programming, especially in-person programming due to COVID. And, we're in a growth period right now, and we're always looking for opportunities to partner with new stakeholders, with new friends, new partnerships, to provide our programming in person. Nancy Latham is a staff member of ours who works specifically around financial issues. She is a HUD certified housing counselor, and she is also a certified financial coach. And she is very happy to take on clients and to work with individuals around their financial literacy. And then Steve Whittington is an individual whose office is actually based in Grand Rapids, but he does work across the state, specifically around connecting veterans with benefits that serve lower income populations. He's a veteran himself. He really understands being able to work with that community and help them maintain dignity as they may sometimes, need some additional assistance and some additional help to meet their needs. The last piece is just some general contact information for you all. If you're interested in contacting us and it is not, perhaps senior programming related, please feel free to reach out to either of our locations. We have space in the Verkulen building in Clinton Township and also at the Max Thompson Family Resource Center in Warren. We offer a whole host of programs there, everything from that financial literacy and senior programming to youth development, to health and nutrition and physical activity programs for families, And I just want to highlight our garden hotline. Should you find yourself unable to tackle that weed issue this summer, please give us a call. We'd be happy to give you advice on how to tackle that, or if you find you have a pest problem. We also have a feature that we have been, it's been around for a while, but we've been wanting to publicize it more and more, called Ask Extension. And if you visit the URL in this slide, you can type in a question about almost anything. And within 48 hours, you will be connected with an extension professional. They may be based in Michigan, they may be based in another state, but that extension professional will have expertise related to the question that you're asking and will help you find answers to meet your needs. One last thing I wanted to share with you before I kind of open it up for questions is I just wanted to show you our website. This is CANR, which stands for the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources, which is what Extension is a part of, canr.msu.edu/aging. And this brings you to our homepage. And on this page, there are lists of useful articles about a whole host of topics related to aging. There's also a calendar of events. And I'll even click on that. Is everyone able to see that with me? Mm-hmm. And this gives us a listing of upcoming events. Most of the items that you'll find on this calendar are available virtually. Let's block that. And then a list of staff across the state who work on programs and projects related to aging. Podcasts. This is a relatively new one. I think there's actually only one posted up there, but from time to time, we will record podcasts and make those available to the public. And then publications. And a part of the work that we do within Extension is article writing for local publications and newspapers and magazines. And you will find many of those published articles at this website. And if there happens to be a partner, a senior center, or anything like that that's interested in taking advantage of our online presence and perhaps isn't as comfortable with technology, we're happy to help. Please just give us a call, and we're happy to walk you through all of these processes. In particular, the online workshops, because there is a registration process. And so if any assistance is needed, we're happy to help. So that's just a brief overview. If there's time, Madam Chair, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And that there are some interests that both organizations have in serving seniors and some topics that align. Are there examples you could share of your coordination with our county senior services and how you work together, and are there joint projects?
So I would say that maybe at a slightly, like one level up from that, we coordinate quite a bit with Macomb Community Action. And they often refer clients to us for the financial coaching piece. So for example, if an individual comes to Macomb Community Action and they need utility assistance, rent assistance, mortgage assistance, anything like that, they are referred to us for financial literacy coaching. And so, like I said, around 60% of those people are older adults. And so we work with them to reach that population. The idea of coordinating more than that is one we've kind of been trying to tackle and present a united front as much as we can for at least as long as I've been here, for the last 12 years or so. But there are lots of programs that Macomb Community Action has dominion over because it's grant funded and what have you. And then there's our stuff. And so we try to coordinate as often as we can. Yeah, thank you for that.
Any other questions?
Is there a tuition, does the tuition vary with these courses?
So with all of the courses that I outlined for you today, there is no cost. They are free and available. In the case of doing in-person programs, bringing these, to, again, a community center, family resource center, senior center, we may see if there's a way to recover cost, but we don't turn people away for inability to pay a fee or anything like that. Typically, in cases like that, we have worked it out with the organization we're working with to provide, a small stipend to us in order to present the workshop. But it's free to the public to participate.
Marcia?
So just to help me clarify, do you offer some of your courses at the Verkulen building or at the other site, and also a variety of them at like a senior center, senior living places, depending on where the need is? So if somebody wants you to come in and do one of the PATH programs or something like at an assisted living place, and there's enough that will attend, you would go there and offer the class?
Yes, we would.
As well as having it on site so anybody from anywhere in the county could come and attend?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah. At this point in time, the majority of our classes are happening at our Warren office. That seems to be where the demand is and where people seem to show up. But we are more than happy to, if there's demand, we are more than happy to bring those programs back to the Verkulen building or any other facility that might be interested. Thank you.
Additional questions? I just want to say that particularly the financial education is so incredibly helpful to folks. A lot of seniors find themselves all of a sudden on their own, mm-hmm. and all of a sudden they realize somebody else has been paying all the bills and making all the financial decisions, and now they have to figure it out.
Yes.
And that is particularly helpful. It's also particularly helpful for younger people who are just starting out and need to start off on the right foot.
Yeah.
My daughter participated in some of the activities you had, and
wonderful.
she's a 25-year-old with a savings account and an investment account, because she figured that out. So I just think that's particularly important. It's been a week where I've been dealing with folks who suddenly find themselves on their own in a world they're sort of unprepared for, even though they may be 60 years old. The same includes, I know that you from time to time have sort of courses on minor home repair and some other things that people may not have learned to do because they had a spouse who took care of it all. And those are particularly helpful classes, I think.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Phil?
Yes. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. As far as Mr. Steve Whittington, how does his program work in there with the veterans?
So if veterans contact us, his job essentially is to say, okay, you are a veteran and you need some assistance. How can we get you connected, first of all, with your local Veterans Administration so that you can take advantages of the services they have to offer? And then how can we get you connected with SNAP or FNAP or other government benefits that can help you meet your needs? And so he will help walk them through the process of applying for those benefits, and he will help make the connection with the people who call him and whoever their local entity is. Here in Macomb County, it's Veterans Administration, right? But yeah, he helps to make those connections for people.
Thank you.
Do you
And
have
he
any?
is underutilized, and so I would love to have more people call him.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Do you have any pamphlets available as well for seniors?
Yeah, I can certainly get you some. We have put a halt on printing for some time because there hasn't really been a need for that cost, but I'm happy to print brochures about our programming and share them with you. You just let me know where is the best place to send them to or provide them for you.
Actually, if you just send them here,
Okay,
Adriana will distribute them accordingly.
great.
All right, well, thank you so much, Mr. Scott, for coming today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
It's always interesting to hear what Cooperative Extension does. I personally love the thing where you call up and say, something is eating my plant, what is it?
Yeah.
I've used that service many times.
Yeah, you can even bring it into us.
Yeah, I've done that before. The leaves are turning yellow and I don't know why. They're very helpful with that stuff. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Everyone have a great day.
I need a motion to receive and file agenda items 7A and B. Someone care to make that motion?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
And Jim seconds over there. Any questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Now we have some items on our discussion agenda, which is on the back of the other agenda. In the past, this committee, before my time, has apparently put together an activity spreadsheet listing a variety of activities that are coming up in the various communities. I'm not clear entirely how this got put together. Some of you who've been here longer may know the answer to this question. As a newcomer, though, with a fresh set of eyes, I'm sort of wondering what the purpose is of this and how it gets updated. For instance, I get the weekly email from the Clinton Township Senior Center, which tells me all the activities happening for the following week, which changes frequently. And I'm not sure how we connect this list to that list. I'm sure all the senior centers do that, and I love to do useful things. I'm just trying to figure out what the use is of this. Does anyone care to speak to that who's been here before? Anybody?
I'm looking at this, and I'm trying to even figure out what year we did it, and it's effective, because I'm not seeing a year on it, but I'm seeing specific dates.
I think it was 2018.
It's at least, it was before COVID, I think we did this.
It was like during the first go-around with
Yeah.
the committee.
I
and we-
recall it as being our first year,
Yeah.
and if I recall correctly, this was an idea that was generated not from individuals within this group, but from the staff.
Well, I think we all
Perhaps-
had to, because I think the original purpose of it was to make available to our members here of what was going on in each of the communities, just to have an idea as to what, what was available within each area, if you would.
I'm not sure that anyone realized until they got into it what an arduous task
It was.
it was.
It was. Putting
And
this all together.
I'm not sure that the product was as useful as an internet search, if I may say that.
Right, right. It was kind of, to figure this out of what was going on in the community, you really had to go out and about and check things out.
Yeah.
Because, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what goes on, say, in, Sterling Heights, and I'm from Fraser, and there was quite a bit going on that I really didn't realize, I think it was kind of an exercise in making us aware of actually what is going on in each community. Not so much necessarily that we would be updating this, every 6 months or, yearly or anything, but originally it was to make us all aware of the different activities that were
Okay.
available to seniors.
And I think that's a worthwhile goal. And so I'm wondering if even putting together a listing or linking to various people's websites of the various senior centers in each community, of the various groups that aim specifically to provide services or recreation or education to seniors, and sort of create a list of resources people can use, as opposed to the specifics here, which I think are not, I mean, if I didn't even know what I would do with this, and I'm sure things are changing all the time. So if that's something that seems, and I guess, I mean, I don't know if that's a worthwhile thing or not. With the internet, people can just go find all the senior centers, or if it would be helpful to have one little page with all the links to the senior centers. It's something we could put on our webpage. I don't, what are people's thoughts on this?
At one time, the Office of Senior Services did have a complete list of all the senior centers in the county, and they may still, and that would be a great thing to find out.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree that the county senior services website is very valuable in that way, and I might put a different twist on that and challenge people to look at their communities that they represent and identify gaps in services. We know what's there, but I'm not sure how cognizant we remain about gaps. And I would take this opportunity to also make a pitch to have Macomb County Senior Services representatives come back to us this year. We've had jam-packed meetings this year, which has been exciting, but I'm also aware, so we don't have that many more meetings this year, and maybe we could have them back in, maybe at our November meeting, to talk about gaps in service. Now, I'm reminded about this because when Sheila Cote was here, and she gave us a list of the congregate meal sites, the senior-style dining, and was pointing out that some of them have not reopened since they closed over COVID. And I was checking recently, and I found out that the Centerline and the Owen Jacks Center in Warren still have not reopened. And I would like to think that as a group or as individuals, we can impact such things. I was chagrined at the presentation Sheila gave to realize that Macomb Township has no congregate dining facility in our borders. And I'm currently working with the senior services and with the correct people, I hope, at our township to see if we can't get something like that going. And I'm seeing some green shoots, so I have some optimism there. But I will also mention that Sheila Cote has mentioned that they have no senior congregate meal sites in Washington Township at all. They have none in Lenox. They could use another one in Sterling Heights. So I bring this up as examples of what we could concentrate on, because I think we can all figure out what's there, but part of our purpose is to amplify the voice of seniors up to our county representatives. And I think looking at the gaps in services is also of value.
I agree. I think looking at, we sort of know what we have. It'd be good to focus on what we don't have at this moment to see if there are things. I know that the county executive's office is finishing up a survey of all of the services offered through Macomb, how we offer them, where we offer them. And my understanding is that report should be due any time now I think they said the end of June, but clearly we're at the end of June, so this must mean in July. And that would be interesting to look at for just that reason. And maybe we can, maybe people could have a homework assignment to think in your local community what you think may be missing. Kathy has mentioned a couple of things about congregate meal sites, but there may be other things that is not functioning well for seniors in your area. And maybe the next meeting we can sort of start to compile a list of those things and then have Sheila or whomever come back and say, this is a list of things that we see as lacking in terms of senior services, and what can you do about it? Because the budget process will also be starting this summer. So that would be the time to, if we see a need that needs some services or some funding, that's the point at which you got to say it, or you end up waiting a whole nother year. So why don't we make that our homework assignment? We'll come back at the next meeting. If everybody can sort of survey your community, talk to your neighbors, talk to folks at the senior centers, the other organizations you attend, and sort of have little focus groups. If you know, what are we missing in terms of services? What do you need that you can't find? That would be a good thing. And come back with that at our next meeting. And we'll compile a list. Okay? Sorry. And then I think we're just going to forget we ever did this. I think it was a valiant attempt, but I'm not clear it was helpful. The next item is item B, Yoga on the Hill, Saturday, August 6th. If you've participated in that before, I know we have. 9 a.m. at Freedom Hill in Sterling Heights. Flyer and registrations with details are going to be distributed. They're not ready yet, I don't think.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
We should have them soon.
Okay. So that's an informational item. It's great fun. You should come and join us. We had talked about a field trip, if you will, to the Detroit Institute of Art. We have a tentative date. We're waiting for confirmation. That would be August 23rd. Tentatively, we would pick up here at noon, go down, have a couple of hours tour at the DIA, and then come back here. But we're waiting for confirmation from the DIA about that. But so pencil it in your calendar or whatever we do these days for those of us who have electronic calendars. All right. Yes, ma'am.
A quick question back to the Yoga on the Hill. Do you have a bunch of other flyers that any of us are, I'm thinking that I could take with me to promote that?
We don't yet. We will have those as soon as we do. We'll let you know. Anybody who wants them, we can get you a stack of them if you'd like to have them to distribute.
Thank you.
All right. If I could have a motion to receive and file items 8A, B, and C.
So moved.
Okay. It's been moved by Suzanne and supported by Marcia. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Correspondence. We received a thank you note from Stacy Conte, the Interfaith Caregivers. You remember she came in our last meeting. It was very nice of her to thank us. She actually did us a favor, but she thanked us for coming. So that's kind of nice. Any other correspondence we've had? Just that. Then I would entertain a motion to receive and file the correspondence. Support? Support. There we go. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. The next is public participation. This is an opportunity for public participation for those who wish to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any issue. Going once? Going twice? Done with public participation. Comments from members. I actually have one. It's one of those sad announcements, and I don't know how many of you know Sharon Geyer. She used to be a county commissioner, then was a state rep from Clinton Township, director of the State Office on Aging. Sharon passed away last night. She had been ill and in the hospital, and I don't have any details. It just happened. But if we could have a moment of silence for Sharon and to thank her for all the great work she did for seniors over all those years. Thank you. Any other comments? Things we need to know about? Stuff happening? If not, then I would take a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Marcia and Kathy, all those in favor say aye. Aye. I'm assuming no one's opposed. Thank you all for coming.